What does structured reporting look like in Astraya? Which tools and functions support me in my daily work? Can Astraya be integrated into my IT network? Stay tuned for answers to these questions and much more. Grüß euch miteinander, my name is David Stocki and I'd like to welcome you to this first ever Astraya software demonstration video from our nice little studio in Ismaning. As the title indicates, this video is intended to give you a first impression and is therefore aimed at people who have not yet seen or used Astraya before. Detailed information on the individual reporting modules, function tools and add-ons can be found in the corresponding tutorials, which we are constantly adding from now on. But enough intro blah blah blah, let's go to Astraya. After logging in, you will see the Astraya entry screen. From here you have access to the patient database, which I'm just going to show you in a minute, and also to the various integrated tools and functions. Each Astraya solution includes a diary that helps to manage your patient appointments. Importantly, you can define the organization of it, such as the structure, the availability, or the duration of a specific examination yourself. Clicking on Patients takes you to the patient lookup, where you can either create a new case or search for an existing one. For this tutorial, I will just show you a test case using the obstetrics module that already contains data. So, Astraya is structured in a way that the navigator is on the left, the input screens are in the middle, and the image gallery is on the right. When you open a case, you do not land directly in the input screens, but in the summary, where all the examinations of this pregnancy are presented as columns in chronological order. By clicking on an examination, you can also see which input screens contain data, which is indicated by bold letters, or in other words, what type of examinations were performed. Early pregnancy assessment, first trimester scan, NIPT, anomaly and growth scan, etc., etc. In addition, by mouse over, it's also possible to see the most important information and findings of this examination. Astraya has several add-ons for imaging. First, Astraya can of course be connected to your existing local PACS. But wait, we're not a big hospital and we cannot afford an expensive PAC, so what now? I'm sorry, but then you're totally screwed. No, I'm just kidding, of course. No need to worry. We also offer an image server to store the DICOM media, which is a very cost-effective alternative to a large PACS and is therefore suited for small to mid-sized clinics. A preview of all images, clips and volumes are displayed in the gallery and can be opened directly in Astraya with another add-on, the Astraya Image Viewer. The image viewer not only allows you to view images, but also contains various tools. Among other things, you can take measurements and send them directly to the corresponding database field. Furthermore, it's possible to categorize the images with user-defined tags in order to retrieve them later by the image query tool. I would like to give you now a few examples to illustrate how examinations can be documented efficiently and completely thanks to the extensive input screens with practice-oriented workflows. I think the patient detail screen is quite self-explanatory. I just want to mention here that we can create HL7 interfaces to your hospital information system in order to send the relevant demographic and management data directly to Astraya. But hold on again, as far as I've heard, HL7 interfaces need developmental work and are therefore not quite cheap. Again, we're not a big hospital and most likely cannot afford it. Yes, that's true, but if you would like to have a convenient connection to your patient administration system, we can offer you an XDT interface. This can be installed in less than 1 hour and is therefore very affordable. However, and this is very important to mention, this type of interface is quite limited. You can usually only transfer the patient name and the date of birth and nothing more. But maybe more on that in a separate tutorial. Let's now continue with the input screens. Using the history main screen, I would like to briefly address a few important concepts in Astraya. First, there are checkboxes that, when clicked, open a new section to further specify the information, as for example here with the risk factors for preterm labor. This way the input screens are not overloaded and you can orientate yourself better. Next, we have the lists like this one here to document infectious diseases. In addition to existing entries that are defined by our medical advisors, you can also easily add your own entries. For example, if you want to add varicella, all you have to do is click on New Item and enter the name. So this gives you flexibility but does not interfere with structured reporting. Let's now take a look at the input screens. So the top part is the same for all ultrasound screens, consisting of the examination details such as date, department, referring doctors, sonographer, ultrasound system, type of transducer, quality of the view, etc., etc., etc. Here you can also specify how the gestational age should be calculated. The rest of the screen is specific to the ultrasound examination type, which in this case is the first trimester scan. Importantly, the screen contains the FMF London algorithm to calculate the risk of trisomy 21, 18, 13, preeclampsia, intrauterine growth restriction, and preterm delivery. As you can see, the first trimester screen is divided into several sections. History contains the adjustment factors that are needed for the calculation of the MOMS and the a priori risk. The ultrasound tab is used to document the morphology, biometry, and Doppler. Importantly, all measurements can be transferred directly from the ultrasound machine to Astraya via the automated measurement transfer add-on. Another important point I would like to emphasize are the numerous information buttons. When I click on one, like for example here, the one for nasal bone, I find medical background information as well as measurement instruction with images and of course their references. So if you want to perform a certain measurement that might be new to you or you can't quite remember the details, the info buttons will save you a lot of time because you don't have to search for it outside of Astraya. The concentration of the biochemical markers for the risk calculation are documented in the biochemistry tab. Please note that we also provide laboratory interfaces to all FMF certified analyzers to directly import the values to the Astraya software. For laboratories, we can also help out with an interface to their laboratory information system. Now, given that you have a valid FMF license and that the input data is complete, the risk can be calculated in the Risk Calculation tab. And once you have entered all the data, you can create a structured patient report with just a few clicks. David, sorry to interrupt you again, but is there also a simple way to add my own comments and conclusions to the report? Yes, of course, and this is possible to do with the so-called reporter in the conclusion screen. You can easily create your own text snippets and organize them in different folders to reuse them later on. Additionally, by using variables, you can automatically insert the entries for any database field, such as for example the patient name or date of birth. Your own comments and conclusions are then displayed at the very end of the reports, which brings me actually to the next point, the printouts. For all important examination types, there are predefined report templates. For any report, you can define which charts and images are to be implemented and to whom the report is to be sent. So here you can see what the standard first trimester report looks like. Naturally, we are very happy to help you adapt the reports according to your preferences. Via HL7 interface, the report can also be sent automatically to the hospital information system. So in Switzerland, where I come from, we are very multilingual and have German, French and Italian speaking patients who would like to have their report in their native language. Is that possible to do with Astraya? Yes, and we are actually very proud of that. First of all, Astraya is translated into about 25 languages. The translation is done by selected customers of ours who are experts in the section to be translated. This allows us to ensure a standardized and semantically correct terminology in all languages. Second, and this is very useful for a multilingual environment like yours, the language can be changed on the fly directly during the examination. And last but not least, I would like to talk about the growth bars and charts using the anomaly and growth scan screens. The growth bars are located next to the measurement fields and show the statistical deviation of the measurements from the normal population. However, a clearer picture is obtained by the representation as a chart. You can easily have a look at the chart for a given measurement field by using the F7 shortcut. Importantly, measurement at other time points are indicated as well, which allows you to accurately monitor the fetal growth. For almost every measurement field, it is possible to choose between multiple charts from peer-reviewed articles. For example, if you prefer the Nicolaides chart for the estimated fetal weight, you can go to Options and select it in this list to display this chart in the future. Actually, there are currently over 400 charts integrated in Astraya. So I think we leave it here for today. Of course, you are very welcome to contact your local Astraya representative or directly us if you have any questions and if you want to get a quote or a personal demo. So thank you very much for watching, stay healthy, and until next time.